Hi guys, welcome back to Hanging Out with Lori. How are you today? I hope you are doing well and that it is beautiful wherever you are and that you're able to get out and enjoy some sun. It is beautiful here, windy, but beautiful, and I will take that any day. Today I'm excited to be bringing you a collab video with one of the sweetest human beings that I know. She is one of my dearest friends, and that is Tracy over at Tracy Lea Beauty. Tracy and I met here on YouTube a few years ago. She was one of my first subscribers, and we became fast friends. And ever since then, there has not been a day that we have not talked. Sometimes one of us cannot respond, and so then the other one gets worried about the other. But I love the connection that we have, in that even though we are long distance, we make sure that the other is doing okay and that we are there for them. We both battle with chronic pain, with chronic illnesses, and so it's nice to have a support system that you know will be there for you come hell or high water, and I appreciate that about Tracy. I love her to pieces, and I can't imagine my life without Tracy. She's a beautiful woman. So make sure you go check her out if you don't already follow her. She is beautiful. Today we are doing a video about our 10 favorite spring palettes. Now, all of these palettes are spring palettes to me, but they can bridge the gap over into summer. Some of them, not all. Well, yeah, I guess they all can. But there's some that I like more come summertime than others. I have like a hair on my face. And I will tell you those ones that I think really bridge that gap. I like a different look in the summer versus the spring. But overall, these are definitely spring palettes that I use, that I love, and they're just really good palettes. Let's start off the top 10 spring palettes that I have in my collection. And these are in no particular order. I'm just talking about them because I love them in the spring. The first one we are starting off with, I'm actually wearing it on my eyes today, and that is Violet Voss's Flamingo palette. I love this palette. Now, it is known for its bright, vibrant colors, but you do not have to wear them so bold and bright. You can do a wash of color, which is what I have on my eyes with flamingos here, and it just looks beautiful. In the spring, I love earth tones. I love peaches. I love purples. I love browns. But I also love a little bit of blue, a little bit of green, a lot of yellow. This palette here gives me everything that I want. I mean, look at this coral here. It is so beautiful. Now, I do have to use this with another palette for the most part, only because I like to pair these shades more with, you know, brown tones. And I really don't have any good brown tones in here, but if I get a base of a brown, you know, a light tan or bronzy wash on my transition, then I can use this palette for the rest of my look. So I love Flamingos by Violet Voss. Great quality, very creamy, vibrant, takes you into summer, and it can be used all summer long because of those vibrant colors. But it also is perfect for spring because it has those soft, muted corals and peaches and oranges and yellows and purples, and you can just do a light dusting. And see, to me, this is the perfect spring eye, and I got it using Violet Voss Flamingos. Who'd have thunk? All right, I'm just grabbing from what's on my pile here. And so the next one happens to be another one that will transition into summertime, and that is Ibewise Poolside palette. I love this palette because you have some neutrals in here, but you have these beautiful pops of purple, peaches, pinks, and this teal. Now, I have yet to use this teal. The teal scares me, kind of like my teal nail polish scares me. But all the rest of these are beautiful. It gives you the kind of look that I crave in the spring, something that reminds me of the earth, the flowers coming up, the happiness, but in a soft, muted version of what I envision happiness looking like. So I really like this. I love the quality of Ibewise eyeshadows. I think they are extremely good. I have 2 other palettes by them, and I just really enjoy Ibewise formula. So that is Poolside. You can find this on reseller websites, but also Ibewise has it for sale on their website as well. This next one is the newest palette in my collection that is in this spring video, and that is Vizier Petite Pro 5 Soleil palette. Gorgeous. When I said I like yellows in the spring, I love yellow in the spring. I love using yellow as a wash on top of my lid to just really buff out any edges, just to use it to soften it up. And this palette has this gorgeous yellow here that isn't overly yellow. While it looks really yellow here, and I have no doubt you can build it up, it is gorgeous as a wash. All of these shades are gorgeous. This purple here is a duochrome that is just stunning on the lid, because one point it looks almost, you know, like a clear lid color, and then the next you've got a pink or a purple, even a hint of blue. So it really is a gorgeous shade. You have this beautiful watermelon, a coral, this deep gold, and this beautiful bronze. Now this palette, I have made a couple of looks just using this palette alone, but I prefer to pair it with another palette just because, again, I like those brown or tan bronzy shades to start off a spring look. And while this has this beautiful cream, almost tan shade here, I just need a little something more. So I really love the Soleil palette. I think the colors are gorgeous. The color story is beautiful. The formula of these eyeshadows is by far the best that I have in my collection. This next one also has a yellow in it, and this is such a wonderful palette. I know a lot of people did not like this palette, but I love it, and that's Maybelline's Lemonade Craze. For me, this is the perfect springtime palette. I don't have to bring any other palette in. I've got my, you know, my neutral shades here. I have this beautiful watermelon color. I have a peach. I've got a bronze, this cool tone pink here. I have this beautiful yellow that I just gravitate towards. And I can make some beautiful, beautiful looks with just this palette, no other palette. And I love the formula. It blends nicely. It wears well. It's just a nice drugstore palette. I never have understood why people didn't like Lemonade Craze, because I think it's amazing and the colors are absolutely stunning. Maybe it's because you have to build up the shimmers. I don't know. But I love this palette. you do have to work with it to build up the colors. I guess I can give them that. It isn't really heavy, you know, a heavy packed pigmented palette, but I actually like that because I can be heavy-handed at times, so I like palettes that actually force me to have control. I appreciate that because I sometimes do not have that. So I do appreciate this, and the color story is gorgeous, just gorgeous. And that yellow and that watermelon. This next one should not surprise any of you. It was my favorite palette in 2018, and that's Maybelline City Mini palette in Downtown Sunrise. I did a look with this last month in a collab with my friend Andrea. I will put the link down below if you're interested in seeing that. But I love this palette because, one, it has this beautiful coral in here, but it's got my 3 neutral shades that I crave in a springtime look with these pops of shimmer. So I've got this deeper coral, this cooler icy pink, and then this beautiful champagne. So I can do an all matte look. I can do a one and done look. I can do, you know, a pop of shimmer on the lid. In that look that I did, I used every shade in this palette, and the look was beautiful. And I love the quality of the City Mini palettes. It gives me the shades that I want, but also a excellent formula. The next palette I received as a gift with purchase, and when I first got it, I'm like, oh, that's not something I will use. And then I used it, and I'm like, Lori, seriously? What were you thinking? And that is CoverGirl's Peach Punch palette. This color story is absolutely right up my alley. It is a warmer spring palette in my opinion. These pinks and peaches just are not as bold. I would call this a mid-tone palette, but I can't really say. I do know that these shades, when I swatch them against the other ones, are definitely warmer than the others. They just give a depth to your look that some of the other peaches and pinks that I have already talked about really don't give. And these neutrals are absolutely stunning. You can do just a neutral eye, you can do a pop of pink or coral. Even this purpley brown here is really pretty. It's just a beautiful, versatile palette, and the formula is absolutely stunning. I love this pink. I swore I wasn't going to swatch, but look at that. It is just yummy. It, to me, reminds me of like the flesh of a fruit, just because it has this juicy quality to the color that I just really like. So I really love Peach Punch, and I'm glad I got it for free. I would have never purchased it because I did not think it was a palette I would use. But it's so a palette I would use. These are the quintessential spring colors for me. I feel like I'm a broken record because this next palette is similar to the ones that I have talked about prior, and that is Colorpop's Sweet Talk palette. It is a beautiful peach balm palette. It's got some neutrals in there. It's got this beautiful like reddish brown at the bottom. I don't use the glitters, but the shades of all of these are perfect. You got this gorgeous bronze. So you can do a soft look, you can do a bolder look. And I just think it is absolutely stunning. Beautiful shades. I love the formula of Colorpop. I can't really say a whole lot other than it's my kind of colors in spring. The formula is beautiful, and it's perfect for getting a neutral, getting a more corally look. You can even do a bronze look with this, so it's a great palette. All right, we are moving out of the peach pink brown tone brown palettes that I crave in the spring. One other color that I crave in the spring that really has not come up other than in the Flamingo palette, and that is purple. And I love MAC's Classic Cutie because it has some pastels. It's got some deeper ones. I use this with another palette, but I love pastels in the spring, but I don't own a lot of pastels. I have another palette that I'll be talking about because of the pastels in it. But this one, I love the purples in here. I love the pastel purple, but I mix it with other palettes. I think this highlighter is gorgeous. It's like a pastel lavender highlighter. I'm trying to get it so it'll swatch. There you go. The formula on these palettes I think are good. This next one might be a surprise as a spring palette, but I really like this palette. Now I do have to pair it with another palette, but I love the Jeffree Star Jawbreaker palette. Specifically, I love this row of pastels. Now, all of these colors you can use and just do a wash of them, and that makes them really light. But these pastels are absolutely stunning, and they make such a beautiful spring look. You can also get a neutral look off of this palette. I mean, there are neutrals. Here we've got some browns, we've got a cream here. All of these pastels, they're not neutral, but you can make a neutral look with this palette. I mean, is there a lot of neutrals here? No, not as many as you would find in his like Blue Blood palette. I think there's a lot of neutrals in that palette, but there is some, so it gives me those grounding colors that I really need in the spring. But I can also just make, you know, a 2 shadow look with this palette and be out the door. But truly, this palette is here for these pastels, but any of them can be a wash of color. Like this is Flamingo, and it is a really dark coral, and just putting it on as a wash of color is absolutely stunning. And you can do that with any of these to give it a softer springtime look. Like these yellows here, beautiful, beautiful. But that is Jawbreaker. But that is Jawbreaker by Jeffree Star. I really like it as a spring palette. I know it's kind of pushing the envelope on it, but I do like it. It's also a transition into summer because it does have those brighter, bold colors that I do like in the summer. So yes, Jeffree Star is a springtime palette for me. And then my last palette is also a spring to summer palette. It definitely is more of a late spring, early summer palette because the neutral shades in here are very warm. And that's Alomar Cosmetics Rina del Caribe Volume 1 palette. Now this is available on their website along with Volume 2, and Volume 2 has brighter colors, but I love this color story. I really like it. These 2 shades right here specifically in the spring because it is those warmer, more earthy shades that I can just get a wash with, but I love these pops of color here to give it a fun-filled look. I use these shades more in the spring, these ones more in the summer, but as a whole, this palette is a great palette. This red right here, it's more like a burgundy, really gives a beautiful look to a spring look. Like it would go beautifully with this look right here to really amp it up, give it more of a soft glam look, because the color is so rich and beautiful. And that's what I love about Alomar Cosmetics eyeshadows. The formula is beautiful. They can be sheared out, they can be built up, but the color, the tones, they are just gorgeous. I mean, look at this shade right here. It is a gorgeous peach. It looks pink in the palette, but it's really a peachy, icy peach that is just absolutely stunning. And I actually want to put it on my lid really bad. But if I do, I know I'll be wearing it. So I'm going to just leave my eyeballs alone. But I love the Alomar Cosmetics formula. I love the color story. Yes, it is a later spring to summer palette. But this is a palette I am reaching for a lot right now. So Alomar Cosmetics, definitely spring palette because it's still spring. So those are my 10 favorite springtime palettes that I have in my collection. Make sure you go check out Tracy to see what palette she picks. I'm really interested. I know her eyeshadow collection pretty well, and so I'm really interested to see what she pulls and see if we have similar tastes in what we like to wear in the spring. So that is it, you guys. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up, and if you are not a member of our family, I would love if you would consider subscribing. Make sure you hit that bell so you're notified whenever I upload. I upload between 5 and 6 times a week, sometimes 7, but usually 5 to 6, and so that way you will be notified whenever I upload a video. Please take good care of yourself, be safe, make sure you wash your hands, and I will see you on the next one.